Happy New Year! How do I start a video? This is my giant bag of wool. So I actually won this in a competition in December and I never win anything. So I got 8, what was this called? Skein? 8 things of Wool and the Gang crazy sexy wool. And I decided to make a really nice big chunky winter jumper. I've made a few jumpers, but I've never knitted a jumper. So you're going to come along with me on this journey to make a really cute jumper. I'm going to put some inspo of what I want to make, and I'm going to follow a few patterns. I'm not very good at like sticking to patterns, and I normally just like freestyle, but I'm going to try and not do that because I want you guys to like follow along the pattern and make it if you want. But yeah, I've got a lot of yarn here. I got the colour Love Heart Pink, and it's sort of like this Funfetti colour. But now I'm just going to look up a few patterns and try and find one that I think will work best. And I might need to get some needles, so that might involve a trip into town, which is always fun. So I can't remember what needles I have, so I'm going to go to the office and check, and if I don't have them, then we'll pop into town. Okay, I am ready to go to the office. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so I've got 12mm needles, but I need 15 as well. But I actually think I prefer to use circular ones. So I'm gonna go into town because I want to go into town, and I'm gonna try and find 12mm and 15mm circular needles. Let's go. So I just got into town. So I've got 3 possible places that I can get needles. I'm praying one of them has it. It is in fact nighttime right now. I went a bit crazy in Boots because I needed some skincare. I'm going home now and I'm finally gonna knit the jumper. Okay, so it's the next day. I've actually created one of the panels. It's really big, so I really want it like really oversized. So I was just testing it to see how it looked. So pretty good. So I'm gonna be creating a jumper this size. I cast on 46 stitches. Obviously you can do more or less. My tension also wasn't too tight, so that's probably why it's like really big. And I did 50 rows up. But obviously if you want it like regular size, you can do less, or if you want it cropped, you can do even less rows. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to do it now, and I've just been following like 2 different patterns which I'll link below, but obviously if you don't need to look at them, you can just look at this if you want to get like this is like a really simple pattern because I don't like to overcomplicate things. That's why I'm just doing like the straight up rectangle. There is a bit of decreasing at the neck just to give it some shape. But yeah, so we're going to start with the 12mm needles, and we're going to cast on and do the ribbing at the bottom of the jumper. Okay, so I've got my needles and my wool. So we're going to do a long tail cast on just because I find it a bit more secure and stretchy. So just grab a really long bit because we are going to cast on a lot of stitches. So in order to cast on, you're going to start with a slip knot. So you're going to leave a long tail, pop that onto the needle, and then with the tail going towards the right and the tail attached to the yarn to the left, we're going to put your fingers in between and pick them up like this sort of diamond shape and twist like this. So we're going to go in, we're going to sort of grab that on this side and pinch at the bottom and open it up like a diamond. And then you're going to hold it like this. You're going to put the needle under the tail bit of yarn and over and under this bit and then through. It's quite hard to explain, but if you just watch what I'm doing, hopefully you can pick it up. So under this bit, over and under and through. And I'll also pop a probably clearer tutorial in the description below. So you're going to keep doing that. I'm going to do it for 46 stitches. So I've casted on my 46 stitches, and now we can do our ribbing. I'm going to do 6 rows of ribbing. Again, you can do more or less if you want a smaller amount of ribbing or a larger amount of ribbing. And a rib stitch is just knit 1, purl 1, so alternating. And I'll show you how to do that. So even though I'm using circular needles, we're not going in the round. I just like to use it because it's just like a bit more flexible than having like a long stick. So we're just using as if they are normal straight needles, but again, I just prefer a sort of flexibility. So in order to do a rib, you're going to knit 1, so you're going to pop this needle under. That's my tail yarn, so we won't use that. You're going to wrap it round this empty needle, bring it under and over. So that's your first knit. And then for a purl stitch, and you're going to do the same knit stitch, so round the back, around, pull it underneath and over, bring the yarn back round for a purl stitch, put it through the top, bring the yarn round, underneath and pull it off. So you're going to alternate this until you get to the end. Make sure your tension is the same throughout. And I'm just going to bring these up closer so they're easier to get. So I completed 1 row of rib stitch. So then we're just gonna repeat that, or making sure that your knit and purls are on the same as the previous stitch. So a way to tell is that a purl stitch will have this purl bump, whereas this knit stitch will go down straight into this V shape. So this is a knit, this is a purl, this is a knit, this is a purl. So we start with a purl. I'm just going to continue this rib stitch until I've got 6 rows of rib. So my ribbing is done, and now we're gonna change needles to our 15mm needles, and then we're just gonna do a basic stockinette stitch for about, well, I did 49 rows, so you can do more or less, but I'm just gonna start the next row using these needles, and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm going to keep these needles attached to this ribbing and just start the next row with the bigger needle. So to do a stockinette stitch is to do a row of knit and then a row of purl, a row of knit and a row of purl, alternating it that way. So the whole row will be the same stitch. So that's the knit row done, and now we can get rid of these needles because we're now on the 15mm. So I'm just going to turn my work, and now this will be a purl row, and you'll be able to recognize it as you can see the purl bumps. So just keep going with your stockinette stitch until you get to your desired length, and then we'll be at the neck, and I'll show you how to do a decrease for the neck. Once you finish your last row, we're now going to shape the neck. So starting on the right side, you're going to do a row of stitches up until your desired neck length. So I did 15. Then I'm just going to place those 15 stitches on another set of needles just to put them aside so we're not interfering with them. So I can just pop those aside, and then we're going to leave them be for now. And then I'm going to cast off the next stitches, so I'm just going to count 15 stitches on the other side of the shoulder so I don't include them. Just put a stitch marker so I know when to stop. And now we're going to cast off. So in order to cast off, you're going to knit 2 stitches, and then you're going to bring that first one over the top of the second one. So we'll do it again. We'll knit, so we've got 1 stitch here, we'll knit another, so we have 2 stitches on the needle, and then we can lift that first one over the top of the second one. So we're just going to do that all the way down till we get to the stitch marker. So we're now going to do a decrease on the shoulder that we just casted off up to. So we're going to do an SSK stitch, which means slip the loop on, slip another one on, and then you're going to pop your left needle in those 2 stitches in front, and then bring your yarn around to the front and pull it off the needle. And then we're just going to knit the row as normal. For the left shoulder, I'm just going to transfer these loops back onto this needle. And it looks a bit fiddly right now, but basically we're going to leave these and then we're just going to go over to the left side and we're going to knit until we have 3 stitches left. So you'll need to add on a new bit of yarn to do this section. So I'm literally just gonna hook it over like that and continue knitting down the row. These 2 stitches here we're going to knit together, needle through both of them, and then that last one just on its own. So it's looking a bit complicated, but don't worry. So I've just removed the needle from the right shoulder. Obviously the wire is holding the needles up, and I'm just going to pull it over to the left side so we can cast off. And this is the same as casting off on the neck, but we're doing it purl wise, not knit wise. And when you get to the last stitch, you're just gonna pull the tail end of yarn through. Should be at the end of your second ball, so shouldn't be too long. So that's casted off, and then that just leaves this side, which we're going to do the same thing. And again on the last stitch, just pull the tail end through. So we've got the shoulder here, the neck, and the shoulder this side. So now we're going to sew the 2 pieces together. I'm going to start on the sides, and I'm going to go all the way up to the armpit. So you might need to sort of like try this on and test where this will fit nicely under your underarm. So I'm going to do it on this side and also the other side. And how I'm going to do it is with a mattress stitch. So I'm going to start on this side, and to do a mattress stitch, you're basically going to sew between these like ladders, between the loops. I'm going to start right on the edge, so you can see the first stitch. So you're going to go through one side and then find the same ladder stitch on the other side. So I've just sewed up to about 20 centimeters left. I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll do the shoulders, and then I'll try it on and see if I need to undo a few stitches or add some more. But now I've just done 20 centimeters. So I'm going to flip this round. And then doing the same stitch up to the same spot, I'll do the same on this side. So I've just got the shoulder opening here, there's the neck. I'm just going to show you how I attach the two shoulders together. So I've just got to tear the tail end of the yarn that was attached to one of the panels, and I'm just going to use that instead of getting a new bit. So you can see at the top of the shoulder this row of stitches that faces upwards like that, and I'm just going to pick up the outer stitches on each side like that, and then on this side and through there. And this is the way that I'm doing it. There's lots of different ways you can do it. So I'm going to grab my 15mm needles, and you can see that I've added stitch markers. I've done one, missed one, done two next to each other, missed one, two next to each other, missed one, and done that all the way around. And I've got about 27 stitches to pick up, because if you pick up every single stitch, your sleeve's going to be too big. Obviously you can sew up a bit more, so you do just have 27 stitches, but I sort of want it to be a bit chunkier, not too tight on my arm. So that's why I've gone with this method. So I'm going to be picking up the stitches literally right on edge of the sleeve. You see that line of loops right on the edge. So if we start at the beginning, you can see we've got a loop at the beginning. Just move that to make it easier. Now you want to make sure your tension isn't too tight, otherwise it's going to be really hard to get round a second time. But you're going to bring your yarn, pop your needle through that hole, loop your yarn round and pull it through to create a loop, and we're casting on these stitches. So I'm going to miss that one and then go into the loop next to that, pull the yarn through. Can be quite fiddly, but just make sure the tension isn't too tight. I'm going to go to the next one along, just take these out as I go along. So I'll miss that next one and again go on to the next one. So you're doing picking up 2 next to each other, missing 1, picking up 2 next to each other, missing 1, and I'm going to do that all the way around and then I'll get back to you. And once you've casted on, you're just going to go round with a stockinette stitch until you get your desired sleeve length, but you want to make sure to leave some space for the cuff. So I'll probably leave about enough for like 6 rows of ribbing on the cuff. But yeah, you're going to do that on each arm and then I'll get back to you when we do the cuff. For the sleeve, I actually did about 37 stitches before I reached the cuff. So this is the cuff on one side of the arm, and I'm going to show you how to do the cuff on this side. So I've swapped over my needles to the 12mm as we were using the 15s for the arm, and it's the same as the ribbing at the bottom of the jumper. So we're just going to do a knit 1, purl 1. So I'm going to do 6 rows of ribbing for the cuff. So I've just completed the ribbing on the second sleeve, and you're just going to cast it off like you have in your previous casting off. I'm just going to show how I secure the cuff at the end. So I've just cast it off and pulled this tail bit through. You can see that okay. And then just with you can do it with a darning needle. I've just got a crochet hook. I'm just going to find that first sort of V stitch. Probably use that one. I'm going to pop my hook through there, bring the yarn through, and then just anywhere close by. I'm just going to bring it back round, and that just secures it. And then I'm just going to weave it down this bit. And I'll just talk you through how I did the neck. So it's the same as picking up stitches on the arm. So just round the neckline, you'll have a row of stitches. I didn't pick up every stitch. I picked up 3 stitches, missed 1, 3 stitches, missed 1, just because I didn't want it to be too big around the neck, otherwise it will sort of come out. So that's what I did, and I did 4 rows of that. Obviously you can do more or less. You can make it like a big chunky roll neck, or you can just do 1 to neaten it off. I did it! I'm so happy with it. I am going to film some little B-roll clips so you can see it in all its glory, but thank you so much for watching. If you make this jumper, please tag me on Instagram and I'll have all my handles below. And thanks for watching.